Hey, how's it going? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome to the battle for Alexandria. This is taken from my head-to-head multiplayer campaign with Republic of Play using Divide et Impera for Total War Rome 2, and this battle was an extremely important one in my Macedonian conquest because I am playing as Macedon and Darren is playing as India. One of the amazing things about multiplayer campaigns is that when you're playing or fighting against the AI factions, whenever there's a battle, your opponent gets to jump in and play as that faction. So in this battle for Alexandria, I'm fighting against Ptolemy and the Egyptians. And obviously Darren isn't playing as Ptolemy, Darren's playing as the Indians. However, he gets to jump in here and try and stop me, prevent me from taking this major city and make a stand for Ptolemy and the Egyptians, which just makes these multiplayer campaigns so much more exciting. Because there's always that kind of back and forth. You're always trying to do as much damage as possible to your opponent. So in this one, we are using one of my really strong armies and another kind of weaker army. I believe this is one my brother-in-law, or my adopted brother, commanding this initial army. And then we have another army somewhere else. It doesn't actually tell me who it is. It'd be nice if it did, but we'll be able to see that at the end of the battle nonetheless. So this is a 40v40 unit battle. We are bringing everything to bear. I believe Darren has a full strength army and also a half army and a garrison, so he actually outnumbers me a little bit. However, because of that garrison force, he's a little bit underwhelming on his kind of full army roster. However, do not get it wrong, the Egyptian garrisons are really good. For a garrison force, I think the Egyptian garrisons are the best because they have like 8 units that can all form phalanx. Even though they're not like as good as proper hoplites, they can still all form phalanx and do lots and lots of damage. He also, I believe, gets like 5 units of archers with that garrison as well. So yes, this isn't actually a siege battle. I managed to engage the Egyptian army outside of the city of Alexandria, and because it's so foggy, I doubt you can see the city anywhere. I don't know, actually, maybe you could be able to see the city if we go all the way over on Darren's side. Yeah, you can just about see it right off there, I think, anyway. I feel like that's the lighthouse. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can see a faint white line there. Yeah, there it is. I think we can see the city in the distance, which is kind of cool. So at this point in the campaign, we've been fighting Egypt for about, I don't know, 15, 20 turns, and we have made our way down the entire coastline to the north, going around Asia Minor, down to Tyros, taking up the wonderful, wonderful dives there, and now we've made our way down to Jerusalem, and now into Alexandria and into Egypt itself, which is going to be a really, really quick conquest, I'm hoping. However, we've got loads of like tribal factions like the Medoe to the south of us. And all this time as well, Darren is expanding at a pretty quick rate, and we've also made these really crazy alliance blocks as well. Darren's allied to Pontus and the Ajpakan, which are 2 pretty big nations. I've allied the Seleucids. So things are heating up, and I think this boiling pot will explode very, very quickly if we're not too careful, because yeah, you know, like as I said, like things are getting extremely close to us fighting Macedon and India, starting our great war to end all wars, and it's going to be pretty goddamn exciting. I'm sure that is going to be the case. So as you can see, I'm just bringing up my front line. I have a pretty nice front line of these pikemen. I believe I have 8 units of my bronze shields right now. I believe these guys are bronze shields anyway, are they? Let's have a look. I should probably know this after, you know, almost 200 turns. So yeah, got my bronze shield pikemen on the front line. They're pretty good. They do some decent damage, and they're good at holding. Also, the main thing is I've got silver chevrons on some of these guys. Back in Athens, we have gone ahead and developed some pretty goddamn good techniques to make our infantry very good. Do I have... Yeah, there you go. Sorry, that's where the line kind of cuts off. So I've got like 5 units of extremely good pikemen, and then everyone else kind of you're pretty average. I've also got some good, you know, silver shield hoplites as well. So my army is pretty well experienced. I've also got these Syrian war elephants I've taken from Tyros and Jerusalem. These Syrian war elephants are extremely heavily armored, and they're going to do some pretty good damage, I think, because elephants in these latest patches are extremely good. I also have, obviously, my elite missile force I've taken from Greece. So I've got my Rhodian slingers, I've got my Cretan archers, and now I have a new addition to my archer force, and that is going to be these Syrian archers as well. So I'm taking infantry from all over the empire right now to really fill into my ranks. I've also got some new Celtic swordsmen I took from Galatia. I've got these Ferox infantry as well, which have come from Greece itself. So my army is really mixing up very nicely. And also, I think there's a small cavalry engagement. So as you can see, look at the actual map down in the bottom right now. I can really barely see anything, and that's what I love about the new fog of war system they've added in, is you really have to scout. And as you can see, Darren's scouting with his cavalry, I'm scouting with my own. I have no idea where Darren is on this map. He could be hiding in these woods. Also, something you guys will see in a moment, you can really hide anything, or like infantry does a better job, especially lighter infantry, but you can hide a lot of stuff in these woodland areas and the enemy don't really notice them. And again, that's why it puts such a big emphasis on scouting your opponent and kind of being really cautious. And it's just such a wonderful battle change because it adds so much more depth and flavor to the battle. It makes it feel like an actual battle rather than just kind of like, oh, I can see you from 10 meters or like 50 meters away, I'm gonna go ahead and readjust my formation, because anything could be hiding in here. Darren's, I think, put a unit of cavalry over here, and I can't see them from over here. They're hiding in the woodland, in the dense forest right there, and I think that's just really cool. So again, I'm going to be advancing my formation. I kind of want to take this hill as much as I can, but I don't want to overcommit it. And here we go. Dan's going to be committing, and you can see he's this close, and I'm still hidden from these positions. Now, I don't think he's going to get into charging range as long as he's careful with his cavalry. You can see he's kind of moving around with this light cavalry. Well, this is actually heavy cavalry, but he's moving around with these horses and, just trying to basically scour. This is more melee cavalry than anything else. Yeah, this is heavier melee cavalry. And there you go, you can see I dropped my thing and he's only just coming to vision right there as I start my charge. He's going to get his javelin throw off, try and take out a few camels. I'm going to go colliding in, take out a few of these horses, and he's going to try and get the hell out of it. I mean, look at my army in the distance, just advancing whilst all this stuff is going on. It's really cool. The exact same thing happens over here as well, but Darren's going to quickly get out of there as my heavy melee cavalry comes off the hill, trying to charge him down. I do take a javelin toss in the back, which was kind of deadly, and Darren's going to be trying to maneuver around with a few of his horses coming out of the woodland. However, I'm bringing down my fat 200 stack general and also some more of my heavy melee cavalry and try and silence this. Now, one of the things I'm a little bit nervous of when I come to fight Darren, I know he doesn't particularly have great cavalry as India. However, he's got access to the regions of Parthia now as he's conquered them, so he can actually pick up some at least mercenary Parthian cataphracts and stuff. And as the game progresses, my Macedonian cavalry doesn't actually become that strong anymore, as we get a really nice charge off here of my general onto some of the horses, trying to cut these guys down as they try their best to escape. This one's actually going to get out. I believe my horses and my camels over here also managed to kill a couple more horses, and every horse we kill here is really important. Because I believe Darren does actually have the cavalry advantage at the beginning of this battle at least. I managed to, wound one unit and kill a couple other ones. So, I was kind of happy of how well, we managed to kick off this battle. And, we do have the advantage going into this battle. Darren does have a couple more numbers, but I definitely have the quality on my side. But as you guys have seen from the past couple battles, just having numbers really plays a big difference. As long as you have a solid front line to hold, you can really do a lot of damage. What really hurts your positions is when you end up having a really crappy front line. And even if you have numbers, if your front line breaks, then you're kind of just going to be screwed. However, if your front line holds and you can use your numbers to maneuver around the flank and come in the rear and, assault these positions, get some, full-on surrounds on infantry, you're going to wear them down. As they get exhausted, they're just going to rout off the field of battle. So, and I think because Darren has a full stack army, he has a much better chance than he's had before at defeating me here, because he has, a pretty solid front line, and then kind of, as I said, the garrison units are really good for Egypt. Probably, as I said, one of the best garrisons in the game, I think, especially against player v player. Because you can just turtle in these streets really effectively. Obviously, we're in the open field. And there we go. Darren's army is now coming into view. We can see kind of what he has. So I think he actually has like 4 units of elephants in this, which is actually kind of scary for me. He also has a lot more, and he also has a lot of skirmishers as well. He's actually got some Galatian skirmishers. He also has some of his pikes as well, some heavy, very heavy pikes. I remember fighting these guys when I was playing as Rome and Darren was playing as Egypt. Yeah, I know that Ptolemy's pikes are pretty goddamn good, and he has more elephants over here as well. My army is pushing up. Most of my army is actually still hidden, which is kind of crazy. Again, I just love that change. You really have to be active at scouting, especially after we've dominated this right flank now. We've kind of taken out that cavalry. and we're going to continue to push up. The nice thing is as well, if I hold my position here, because I've got artillery, I can kind of bombard Darren's position and hold my line along here, allowing me to basically keep some infantry hidden, kind of keep the length of my line kind of hidden, and force Darren to kind of push me a little bit, because that's kind of what I need to do in these battles, is I need to use my missiles. I have a ridiculous amount of missiles, and actually after this battle I kind of came to the conclusion that I don't need this many in my armies. I only need 3 or 4. Because having a superior amount of numbers is so important now, I just kind of realized that I don't necessarily need as many as I've been bringing to the battlefield. And as you guys can tell, that hasn't changed, that key binding, but I can't find it in the key binding things. That's what I use to take my screenshots, but I cannot find how to change the key binding of that, of the wherever it's taking me over there whenever I press F12. In the Room 2 section. So I've also gone ahead and stuck some, some lighter infantry on the front line. These guys are pretty nice because not only do they screen my pikes for the official battle, they also go ahead and basically, break up Darren's line. They also absorb a bit of missile fire as well. Not that I really am that nervous about missile fire. My pikes will do okay, especially with my, my superior missile force over the top, hammering away at his missiles. So these guys are more here just to kind of disrupt the front line more than anything else. But I've got a pretty good position right now. If we take a little look at it, we can see I've got my pikes up there. I'm a little bit elevated. My left flank is maybe a little bit weak, especially as I see Darren shifting more men over here. So maybe what I should have done is seen Darren do that and start shifting maybe an extra unit of hoplites, or just move a few men to the center of my line. This battle was, I won't say it now, but this battle was actually really telling for me. I learned quite a lot from it, and I learned of what I should be doing to make the more efficient Macedonian armies. It's just so awesome having that, Me and Darren, throughout the campaign, we're using our units, and we're really thinking oh, that was a really good unit. Oh, I don't need that unit if I have this unit. And we're really fine-tuning our armies, and it's just so much fun to do, You just don't get that in the single-player campaign at all, because it's just normally quite easy. You're just I just get pikes, and it's GG, the AI is not going to do anything against pikes, are they? However, in our campaign, we're constantly readjusting. I'm constantly thinking, okay, so what does Darren do in this battle? How does Darren play these battles? And what should I do to try and counter that? Oh, Darren likes to do this, so I'm going to, maybe drop a few of these units and try and get more lighter infantry, or I'm going to get more pikes to hold that front line and prevent Darren from just breaking through in the center. It's just stuff like that, I think, which adds so much flavor to the campaign and makes these battles so important. Also, sorry, this has been a really long kind of intro without battles, but for these head-to-heads, there's so much to talk about, and, it's more about the build-up rather than the actual battle itself, I feel. So I'm going to keep these battles like this. I could cut out some stuff, but, it's all about the context of the battle, I feel, with these head-to-heads and what has been happening beforehand and all of that stuff. So again, I want to push closer to Darren. I have really good missiles. I basically just want to get into range of with my missiles and then just hammer him. I could have shot him more with my artillery, honestly, but I ended up deciding not to. So here we go. Darren's going to start reforming up. He's a lot of spearmen on this flank, and he's actually kind of overwhelmed me a little bit. I believe he's a good spearman as well. Yeah, these are the garrison, but as I said, the Ptolemaic garrison's actually really goddamn good. It kind of scares me. Also, Darren has some really good cavalry as well. Not these guys. This shot cavalry, I think it is. Very heavy shot cavalry. They're very scary. Luckily, they're a little bit depleted, which is nice, but I believe there's 2 units of them. Oh, they're both actually depleted. That's good for me then. Darren is going to swing around this right flank. And again, look at this. It looks like there's a big gap in my line right here. As he gets closer and closer. However, going in deadly is going to go ahead and reveal, all of this infantry. This is still hidden right now, so I could have had anything here, and it would have really effectively done that. Darren's going to come out, again, another unit of cavalry, which I couldn't really see, and the battle is going to begin. I'm going to have camels charging in on him. I've got one of my generals over here on this left-hand side, and I believe at least one of these generals was like an 8-star at the beginning of this engagement. So winning this battle is going to be really important. Dan's going to come flying in with his heavy shot cavalry. I'm going to take a couple casualties, nothing crazy, like 5 or 6 men on the charge. A few more actually, yeah, I'm dropping down 7 men off that charge is not bad, considering his unit was quite weak. However, Dan's going to pierce more cavalry out of the fight right now. I mean, we're going to go in slow-mo just because I don't want to miss any of the action. But here we go. Darren is throwing another 2 units of horses over here. I don't really have any more. I've got 1 unit of general cav right there. And you can see I am quickly throwing over all of my cavalry to that left flank, only leaving 1 more over here to kind of meet up with Darren's Greek cavalry there. His front line is charging forward, and as you can see, the battle is well underway. Lots of missiles coming off. I'm using my own missiles to try and pin down Darren's pikes as much as I can, whittle them down. My front line is doing a great job of disrupting this battle line. But you can see also Darren is using all of his missiles to focus down my heavy pike line, which again is looking extremely beautiful. I mean, look at that pike line right there. That is goddamn great as we get thrown away from the battle. Sorry about that once more. But I mean, just look at that engagement. And yeah, as I said, this front line is doing a great job. However, Darren is doing an amazing thing of overwhelming my left flank. I brought up some more of my light infantry and committed them over here. But Darren definitely has superior cavalry force right now, at least on this side. And he's thrown in his elephants as well, which are obviously such great units at shocking the front line. He's got his armored elephants up here. He's got his normal elephants. I've got a unit of peltists here, but they're taking so long to grind through these elephants. And the elephants are just inflicting so much damage on my left flank, on my cavalry line. And there's gaps appearing, which Darren, I'm sure, is going to exploit very, very quickly. My missiles are still harassing. Something I should have done looking back on this battle is I should have just killed Darren's missiles when I had the chance to. At the moment, I have a real advantage when it comes to archer fire, and I'm really trying to focus down these pikes and stuff. I don't need to focus down the pikes. I have pikes of my own. We'll duke it out in the center for quite a long time. Whereas if I allow Darren's missiles to shoot me, then that's where the damage is going to really come. You know, it's good me focusing down these pikes because it kills them quite quickly. However, I think it's more important for me to take down his missiles rather than anything else. But my cavalry has finally arrived over on this left-hand side to reinforce. And again, this is risky business because my generals are okay right now. But if a unit of these elephants get in on them, oh god, it's going to be brutal. It really, really is, because these elephants are so deadly in these patch, and they definitely do very good against cavalry. You can see we have actually some really strong horsemen over here. Some very heavy shot cavalry, 100 out of 100. That's pretty scary. And again, I'm going to throw in more cavalry, basically just to stem the bleeding right here, try and stop any of this cavalry from coming in. That's why I really wish I would have had more infantry over on this left-hand side. Again, more of my cavalry is breaking. Darren, with the support of his elephants and now spearmen arriving, he's just completely overwhelming my position. Over here as well, you can see that Darren's trying to come in. I quickly see this though and try and stop these guys from breaking through this formation. My hoplites are, in formation, but again, gaps are appearing, and Darren is going to be using his Galatians to charge into me once again. Some of the pike line has now committed. I'm going to be doing pretty good at repelling at least this side of the force, because right here, you've got a lot of missiles coming in, you've got artillery moving in, and the infantry is just not really going to stand up against pikes. However, Darren has his own pikes as well, so that's going to be pretty effective. Again, sorry, that's the last screenshot I will take. Sorry, that just looks really cool. And here we go. Darren has now pierced his trap. He's gone ahead and made me commit all of my cavalry over on the left-hand side. I'm even shifting more infantry over onto this left-hand side because Darren is just overwhelming me. He's getting cavalry through on every single side. And now he's committing over here on the right-hand side. He's using that number advantage to stretch me as thin as possible. Also, I think I see this at the last second. However, Darren is going to get a nice charge off with some of his skirmisher cavalry. These javelins are going to be brutal coming in, at least wounding me as my men throw out their shields. And I think I see this and charge in. But also these extra couple units of infantry and marching column as well, which is just so dope. These guys are in light infantry. They're going to get over here very quickly, and they're going to just basically trying to harass this flank. I'm losing a few units of infantry. As you can see, though, my dense pike blocks are going to be able to withstand this center. Darren's center is kind of defeated somewhat, besides these elite pikes. But I've whittled these down with my missiles, which is good. As I said, I just don't think I really need to, because right now his archers are the ones doing the damage to my pikes. So I think I should have focused down his missiles with my missiles, and that would have been a bit more effective. You can see I'm doing it now, but maybe it's a little bit too late. Killing these skirmishers and stuff really is not that important. But yeah, my front line's doing great. It really, really is. I can't complain there at all. And I have these units of hoplites out there, but Darren has such a huge amount of infantry here as well. He can really start to put the pressure in. I finally commit my cavalry here after being shot for a while. Again, this right flank is extremely scary for me. Darren also managed to get this entire unit of shot cavalry down onto my Armenian archers. I'm committing a unit of my infantry here as well, light infantry, to try and warn off this cavalry as best as I can. But yeah, this is scary. Gaps are appearing. I managed to get my own Syrian war elephants into the fight, but at the moment I'm fighting spearmen with cavalry and horse, which is not what we want. Luckily, the Syrian war elephants are really good. And I think because Darren had to commit a lot of his missiles all of his missiles to his front line with these skirmishes and stuff. I'm kind of getting away quite nicely over on the left-hand side with these elephants because there's nothing really here to shoot my elephants whatsoever. My pelters have also done an okay job at winding his own elephants. Luckily, I've managed to also kind of catch a large portion of this cavalry now with my own. As you can see, I did bring up obviously a lot more of my cavalry to try and help this, and the elephants are doing an okay job. I've managed to kind of scare off some of his cavalry, but there's still 48 heavy shot cavalry. The fighting over on this left-hand side is extremely fierce as well. I honestly, at the moment, I'm winning in the center, losing on my flanks, and I think that was heavily down to my amount of hoplites. I think I had 6 units of hoplites in this battle, and I think after this battle I've kind of come to the conclusion that bringing that many hoplites in each of my army just isn't worth it. If I'm gonna bring, I think I'd rather bring an extra unit of pikes in an army than the 3 hoplites, and then just bring an extra 2 units of lighter infantry to protect my flanks. I think that's kind of the conclusion we came to. After this, maybe drop an archer, definitely drop the hoplites and replace them. Now, hoplites will still find a place in my army, depending on the situation. But in general, I think in my standard aggressive armies, I'm going to be dropping a hoplite and maybe bringing up an extra pike, dropping a missile, and maybe bringing up an extra unit of horse or lighter infantry. And here we go, Darren is just flying through right now, and I don't honestly have much to stop this assault on my right flank. You can see if we take a look at the overall battlefield, he's really curved me in right now. He's holding me in place right here and charging down. I'm also trying to, I believe, withdraw my missiles as well at this point. I'm like, oh shit, this flank is gone. Luckily, my own center has done a great job, so I can start to kind of maybe readjust. I've got 2 units of pikemen I'm bringing off of this battle. My own pikes are going into his side, so I am kind of readjusting with extra pikes, but yeah, he's managed to get cavalry around the side. I'm bringing back 1 unit of my horses because I'm starting to win this battle in a prolonged engagement. Darren had the shot cavalry, I had the melee cavalry. Now that shot cavalry did silence me at the beginning, it routed a couple units of my infantry. However, when the battle prolongs, my heavier melee cavalry will win the day. You can see right here, I'm trying to adjust, but Darren's just going to envelop me right here. I'm trying to withdraw my formation as well, as best as I can. Just buy myself as much time, but Darren is going to be coming in for a full-flung charge. Luckily, this is light cavalry, so the impact shouldn't be that crazy, and I am also really, really dense. But, I mean, that was a pretty nice charge by light cavalry right there, going in, and again, we're going to have another charge into the rear of my pikemen, who aren't actually in pike formation, which was a mistake by me. However, my general's going to come in. And this was quite nice for me, actually, because it meant I could basically pin his cavalry in the backs of my own infantry, and that way I could surround his formation and kill his cavalry. Because there's nowhere for his cavalry to run, right? Where can they run? Through my pikes, so that's not going to happen. So my cavalry can basically pin them in place there and do a great job. The center has been broken, and I am victorious there. There are still a couple units of skirmishers coming down, but I've got a lot of men I'm withdrawing from here. The left flank has basically been won. These Syrian war elephants have done an absolute beautiful job. I'm also fighting some normal elephants over here, which aren't going to be great, but it'll still be decent. I'm not complaining there. They'll hold. I've got my general cavalry killing some more of his spearmen over here quite effectively. Darren does still have a couple more men, but it looks like I've managed to win the cavalry engagement. Only just though, surprisingly, like my cavalry does not stand up that good against heavy shot cavalry, and that's why I'm scared about fighting the Parthians, or Darren's Parthian mercenary cataphracts and stuff, because it's going to be hard to defeat them, especially if he brings a lot of them to the battle. It really is. Again, Darren's just, completely enveloping my infantry. Luckily, though, I mean, these guys actually do only have 3 chevrons, but the extra chevrons against garrison infantry are going to be effective. Whatever. It just gives them that extra bit of morale, allows them to withstand the extra assault. They are getting absolutely smashed, though, by these javelins in the back, though. Oh my god, yeah, this unit is getting demolished. Holy shit. The center is still, kind of going in my favor. I've managed to envelop these guys with some light infantry. I've got pikes in the front holding them. And the battle is starting to shift in my favor. These elephants, though, are still causing a bit of a ruckus, which is a little bit annoying. More infantry over here, more spearmen. And again, I'm just trying to filter my archers out of the battle as best as I can. And just trying to stem the bleeding, because as I said, like over here, it's looking a bit, a bit scary. There's a lot of units here. Luckily, there's only kind of garrison units left. So I just need to kind of reform as best as I can. Again, over here, I've just engaged these guys. put my pikes down, I'm hoping very, very soon. And I have the cavalry advantage, which is really, really good. However, you know, I've got 168 left on that unit, which I guess is still quite a lot, and 120, you know, you might think that having the numbers in the Macedonian generals is really good, because this is like a size of a normal general unit. But you got to remember, I've lost like all the HP in quotation marks armor on these cavalry units. So, you know, even if they do have as many horses as a normal general unit, they're still going to die much quicker when they get down to a lower number, just because how Rome 2 works is like they kind of start off with like basically like a shield almost of HP which protects them, and then once that kind of shield goes away, the numbers drop down really, really quickly. And that's why when you see some archer volleys come in on a fresh unit, they don't lose men, but over time they lose a lot of soldiers. You know, the first volley will kill one, the next volley will kill more and progressively more. So that's what I'm saying. When my generals get down to like 100 men, even though it looks like there's still a lot of cavalry left, they don't have that kind of initial safety blanket on them, so I have to be careful with them. But obviously having this many cavalrymen are really, really good. The Macedonian generals are great. One of definitely the strengths, especially in the early game as well, having a fat unit like that of that many horses. Pikemen smashing into the front line, fighting like back to back with a large portion of these men. And as I said, though, the battle is kind of going in my favour. I managed to kind of clean up the flanks now using my Syrian war elephants, who have not lost a man yet. And again, it's just because Darren could not focus them. We're on 300 kills right now. I will take them. I actually only just lost an elephant there. But yeah, they're really, really good. I'm definitely going to be implementing a few Syrian elephants in my armies as well. They've definitely proven their worth. I don't think they'll be as good as maybe they were in this battle, just because Darren in future will be able to commit more missiles to that fight. And now I'm starting to use more of my skirmish, more of my heavy melee cavalry to kind of move around the battlefield. Darren's general's done a good job as well, because Darren had 2 generals, I think, and this is obviously a very elite unit of pikemen, general pikemen. A few of my Syrian archers are in the wrong place right there, and I think I'm going to be getting the hell out of there. So the right flank is still a little bit scary, a little bit cautious for me, because there's a lot of, you know, men coming around here. I'm going to be trying to use my general cav, I think, to kind of scare off as much as I can, try and get these guys to, you know, instead of pathing around, I'm going to be trying to avoid them. I just need a few of these guys to break, because I don't really have a lot of infantry, or at least all the infantry I do have are tied up here. Oh my god, thank god that this unit routed and came back and Darren didn't see, because a unit of elephants coming in could have been extremely deadly. But yeah, I honestly do not have much infantry left. Luckily at this point I've managed to kind of quell this left flank, and there's not that much crazy stuff coming around, but a few units of breaks. Like, if you look at the battle, I don't really have that much infantry left. Like, I have, what, like 4 or 5 units here, a couple units of cavalry, and then like 4 units down on this right flank, and the rest of my army is just missiles, basically, or wounded infantry. Having the cavalry obviously is amazing, but it's not like this battle was as clean for me as it could have been. And again, that's scary, because this is not 2 full stacks I'm fighting against. These aren't 2 elite stacks. And Darren obviously will have 2 elite full stacks of Indians coming up against me, with mercenaries and area recruitment and just a bunch of other infantry. So it's kind of scary that I'm kind of struggling to beat, you know, not struggling. I am winning these battles, but then I'm not winning them easily against Darren, you know, in these scenarios. And I think but they're good tests for my army. And as we said, we've managed to really decide what we're putting into our armies now more frequently, at least against the standard, you know, the standardized army template we have. Obviously, there's going to be additions. Some are going to have war elephants, some are going to have artillery. Maybe more of my defensive armies will have hoplites in. Maybe I'll have more pikes in some armies. But the generalized kind of like when I'm building a standard aggressive stack, that's what we're going to decide on building. You know, having maybe an extra unit of pikes, drop the hoplites, a couple more units of light infantry, maybe an extra unit of cavalry, maybe one less unit of missiles. We're already going to kind of adjust our formation effectively. But the thing is as well, which makes these battles even more exciting because they're head-to-head, is that's only like half the battle. You know, you still got the campaign movement as well, where we set up ambushes, where we set up, you know, placements. It's all about outplaying people on the campaign map to give yourself a good battle in the actual battle itself. So when me and Darren come to fight India v Macedon, it's going to be about outmaneuvering and outplaying your opponent on both the campaign map and also in the battle. Because if you can go ahead and create a battle where you've managed to go ahead and when you've managed to go ahead and got 2 armies against one of his, you know, that's going to be massive for you, or vice versa, 3 armies against 2 or something along them lines, you know. When you've basically just managed to find yourself a favourable engagement, you know, that's half the battle, honestly. Now, I'm sure me and Darren are going to very rarely take battles where it's going to be really even. Much like it, you know, was in history. Most factions, or most empires in history didn't choose to fight a battle unless they were sure of victory. Obviously, it doesn't take away from the fact that if they were caught out of place or they were forced to fight for whatever reason, they would still fight. But obviously, both sides look for that victory, and you know, because you never want to kind of leave it up to chance. So at this point, I've managed to go ahead and basically clean up this flank. Darren still has a couple more infantry over here, but as we said, the problem is with these garrison forces is that once they get tired, they kind of do lose their pain, and also Darren doesn't have them in phalanx for obvious reasons because he's not in the cities and stuff. So I'm kind of doing quite effectively against them. I actually do have some pikes not in formation though. I'm basically just going to be moving my cavalry around to finish off this battle. And that's going to basically be it. I'm going to be able to take Alexandria now, and that's going to give me a great foothold into the Egyptian region. I still have to take, you know, a large portion of Egyptian territory, which, spoiler alert, does take me a long while. I believe Egypt is actually still alive in the campaign, which is kind of crazy that they are still alive. But yeah, they're putting up a pretty nice fight and causing me some issues. However, we are kind of consolidating our power, building up, and really, you know, now I'm not really sure what to do after we take out Egypt. Now, as I said, Egypt are still alive, but after we take out Egypt, which will probably be in the next stream, which as I forgot to mention at the beginning, me and Darren are taking a 2-week break over Christmas, and we'll be back in the new year, probably the first Tuesday or Thursday of January. So make sure to go ahead and follow us over on Twitch to go ahead and find out. And obviously, join the Discord. Joining the Discord is a great way to always be notified. I always at everyone whenever I go live, so it's a great way to kind of get notified whenever we do something on Twitch. But yeah, as I said, like, I don't really know where to go, because now in the campaign, there's basically just huge alliance blocks, and it'll be interesting to see what happens if me and Darren come to an agreement of some sort, or whatever, you know. It'll be interesting to see who makes the first move, because, as I said, I'm allied with the Seleucids, Darren is allied with, I believe, Pontus and the Seleucids, and Atropatene. So Darren has more alliances, but my empire is bigger. But obviously, you know, to get bigger, I assume Darren, because we're only defensive alliances as well, so as long as I don't attack Darren, we're kind of in a good situation. So, you know, it's going to be interesting, because as I said, I've got the bigger empire, and it's only defensive alliances everyone has. So if Darren doesn't, you know, break some of these defensive alliances to gain more territory, I have a great way of just growing and getting bigger and bigger. So, you know, realistically, we're just going to see how things go, and I'm kind of more, you know, I've got a couple more cities still to take. I'm just going to sit back and see what Darren does now. I think I'm in no rush to start a war against those people. I feel like Darren has to kind of take out one of his defensive allies just for the sake of it. And I feel like as well he kind of has to take out Pontus, because I'm not allied with Pontus for the sole purpose of, I feel like if I allied Pontus, it just kind of add a bit more boring depth to the game, because it'd just be like this unbreakable power box with Darren stuck into a box, and it would just be a stalemate. So I've kind of left Pontus for the sake of Darren to expand there, and you know, I've allied, like I told myself I'm only going to ally one. I could ally everyone, and it'd just be kind of dumb. But yeah, I think that's created a really, really nice dynamic in the campaign. You know, I've got the Seleucids. Darren kind of wants to kill the Seleucids, but you know, he can't. So maybe he's going to go to war with Pontus, keep Atro as his ally. There's like loads of interesting stuff going on. But obviously, if Darren then declares war on the Seleucids, then I'm going to back them up, and that's going to kickstart the entire engagement, which again would be very, very interesting indeed. So there's just so many dynamics going off in the campaign. You know, everyone's trying to think so many steps ahead. There has been, you know, many rumors about us going really far north as well, and trying to kind of invade Darren from the steppes of like Russia and Crimea and areas like that. You know, there's just so many possibilities. I'm sure that's crossed Darren's mind, because we've talked about it many times as well, that Darren, you know, when we were playing as Rome and Egypt, that Darren was going to kind of go all the way around up through Crimea and invade me from the north. You know, not even the great Hannibal Barca would do that. But as I said, I just love these head-to-head campaigns. They're just so much fun. It can be slow when you watch them, in person, but you just kind of, the build up is what makes it good, And oh my god, look at the kills of them elephants. 616. A lot of these, I think 200 of these kills were from routing units, but that's really gone ahead and cemented that I want more of these guys in my army. And I think, as I said, in future we're going to drop these hoplites in my army. Probably keep 4 missiles, that's pretty good, and then maybe, just kind of have more infantry, different infantry. We've actually got a really cool area of recruitment unit in Jerusalem that's going to be filtering into some of my armies as well, which we're going to be using. So it's really nice being able to play as Macedon, having a whole range of units from around the empire in the army. So I feel like when I played as Rome, it was just like, the standard army, there's Principes, Hastati, or like Principes, Hastati, and then we've got legionaries. It's like, why would I not get legionaries? That's what Rome is. You're getting legionaries. You don't have like pikes, hoplites, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really cool to see kind of, playing a different faction. I mean, look how many units I have in this army. There's so many different varieties, and they really come together and add a lot of awesome stuff. Also, look at that, golden chevrons and some of these javelins. They probably killed all my elephants or something. No, my elephants didn't die. I mean, maybe we just had that to begin with. But yeah, cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. Sorry about me rambling towards the end. As you can tell, I actually outnumbered him as well. Wow. I mean, he killed a lot, though. Killed 3,000 men. That's half of my army basically dead. Well, just, I guess, not half. But even still, he did a good amount of damage. And also, like, my army was kind of close to breaking point. If he had if he had the numbers, or he had a couple of extra men, I think that could have easily have turned on its head, and the battle would have gone in his favor. If he could have broken one of my flanks and then surrounded my pikes in the center, it could have all been over. So yeah, make sure you drop a like and a comment down below, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.